fed up, she done fed up, we done fed up. The people fed up, you hiding corruption inside the cup. Look how evil set up. The people fed up. They done drive love fair with the citizen. They may want the people speak out. Freedom of speech done gone inside the gutter. Knock off when you open your mouth. Discrimination in entertainment, and you're talking about one Guyana. When the Ministry of Culture keep the big shows, one set of girls and banner. Cause I done fed up, you done fed up, he done fed up, she done fed up, we done fed up. The people fed up, you're hiding corruption inside the cup. Look how evil set up. The people fed up. Every picture you take and promise you make, everything you do is about clouds. Then you come into me for I shake your hand, there's nothing to smile about. Corruption inside every sector, but when it comes to them they send you. Try investigate efficiency, right? Go talk to Baratans too. Cause I done fed up, you done fed up, he done fed up, she done fed up, we done fed up. The people fed up, you're hiding corruption inside the cup. Look how evil set up. The people fed up. Fed up on the dirty water, low pressure, want scream and tell somebody. Imagine 1500 US and they're telling me super salary. I done fed up on the unemployment racism and the lie they say one Guyana. Cause when you look with the oil money going, circulate with one set of banner. Cause I done fed up, you done fed up, he done fed up, she done fed up, we done fed up. The people fed up, you're hiding corruption inside the cup. Look how evil set up.
Yeah, my name is Jacinty Caldata Francis Vietnam. And since 1965, I become a voter. And I always place my X next to the cup. And what they are doing today, I can't take it. So I have no more vote to give to PPP anymore. I'm not going to vote anymore no more. If they have to lose by one vote, they're losing it by data.
Oh, Jesus Christ, if cost of living double, I don't know what happened. A pound of sugar is $300 already. Flour, everything gone up. Everything just raising. You gotta get about $40,000 for buy good ration. You gotta get 3 man now. A weekend man, a monthly man, and a fortnight man.
How we gonna do a body man walk right now? You ready? Fuck, so let me go now. Hear me sing now. Body walk, body walk, body walk, everything. Body walk, truck, body walk, body walk, body walk, everything. Body, listen. Body jump, body jump, body jump, everything. Body jump, body jump, body jump, body jump, everything. Hear me sing, so big body can't wear it tight pants, big body just.
Get out of here. Good night and welcome to Straight Up. My name is Mark Benshaw. 59 years, not me, well, at least not yet, but Guyana is 59 years old today. What are you guys, what are we celebrating? Everybody's hollering, happy independence, happy independence. What is so happy about independence in 2025? Especially under the corrupt PPP regime? What are you happy about? Are you guys in Agricola happy? Look at what they did to hundreds of residents. Are you guys in Linden happy? Look at what they did to people there in Amelia's ward and other places. Look at what the people are going through in Kokwani, in Aituni, in Old England, in Bartica, in Port Kaituma. You name it, all across the country. People are punishing compliments of the corrupt PPP regime and their friends who helped to install them, and their friends who helped to guard them and to beat them and to give security and to beat people up for them and all manner of things. Oops. 9 minutes after 9 o'clock. My name is, well, it's 11 minutes after 9 o'clock. Lots and lots of things are happening, but we don't want you guys to be swar. We don't want you guys to be distracted by the noise. Don't, for a moment. Read between the lines and understand what is happening. Guyana can do better. All around, it can do better. Do not fall for the Jim Jones poison. Do not do that, guys. It is political suicide. Trust me on that. Now, Okay, let me check some of your comments. Good night to all of you, and welcome. Welcome. Don't get too tired up with bilious wash and who gonna do this, and there's not going to be belly walk. Understand the political climate, understand the voters, understand Guyanese. Do not be fooled. Do not take those PPP voters for granted. And you think that automatically, just like that, belly walk, blah, 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 blah. Is that what politics turned to? Blah, 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 out of emotions. Now, you guys have to hold back a little, peep the card, and understand what is happening. Do not, I repeat, do not be fooled at all. Don't allow your emotions to take control of you. Because when you allow your emotions to take control of you, you're blinded from reality and you don't see the big picture. You have to step back in order to see the big picture and understand what is happening around you. Guyana needs to be taken out of the hands of the corrupt PPP regime. But you've got to be careful. Do not allow the emotions to get to you. Not everything that glitters. Is somebody in the audience who want to complete that sentence for me? Not everything that glitters. Not everything that glitters is gold. Be extra careful, guys. Be extra careful. Do not be fooled. Do not be swar. And do not think that everybody who comes to you with a tin and cup knocking, playing your kind of tune. I have so much that I want to say, and there is so much that I will be saying in the next 90 days, right here on 107.1 FM. Look, the other thing is, these Pakus in the PPP, these Pakus in the PPP should have already issued wanted bulletins for Maduro. Charge Maduro for treason. Charge him with treason. Don't charge your own citizens to treason and terrorism and all these sort of things. Charge Maduro for treason. Look at what they did in Essequibo and all these things. How the heck you could be in another country, and install a governor in Essequibo, and the corrupt PPP regime sit there and do nothing? Absolutely not. Let's go straight to Tom Anderson, who is with us this evening. Tom, good night. Happy Independence anniversary to you, Tom.
I know. Happy Independence Day, everyone in Guyana, everyone around the world that is Guyanese. Happy Independence Day, you guys. It took you long enough, but you finally did it. And, today is the 56th anniversary today? Well, no, this is the 59th anniversary,
no, it's
right?
It's the 59th, Tom. For some reason, Tom, I am of the view that somebody for you must have been in Guyana, man. Somebody. You're so fixated on Guyana.
Maybe. Here's the thing. Here's what's interesting. My dad, when he was a very small toddler, was put up for adoption, and he does not know. I don't know my grandparents. I don't know any of my family on my father's side. So it could be possible.
Or Haiti. Maybe you're related to the Pope.
You never know.
you never know. Tom Anderson is with us. Tom Anderson is with us. I suspect Tom is getting a slight a delay at his end. Tom, I don't know if you've been following Suriname elections. It looks as though the incumbent is being kicked out because NDP which is the opposition party, has 18 seats, and the incumbent, Santoki, has 17 seats. They now have to form a coalition. NDP, that is headed by, could possibly be Suriname's first female president. Jennifer Simon could possibly be the first female president of Suriname. What is your take if you've been watching that politics?
I haven't been watching it. I've been watching a little bit in the region and what's been going on, because there are some spaceport issues and whatnot going on in the area. So there is a lot of world interest in Suriname. So so I've been looking from that perspective. So yeah, no, this is good news in my opinion, because look, in the entire region, I think the entire region needs a shakeup, needs a turnover. There is a lot of incumbency that needs to go away for new leadership to come in to lead the entire region to a more prosperous, better future.
And quality people. Jennifer Simon is quality individual, respected throughout Suriname for the most part. And those are the quality leadership throughout not only the Caribbean, but maybe in Guyana and other parts of the world. Let's move to Suriname. Not Suriname. We move away from Suriname, and congratulations to the NDP. I know the last time around they had a couple of, Minister of National Security and all these things. You're going to hear some Benchop's name mentioned there in Suriname. I'm smiling. Hey, you never know. But let's go to Venezuela, Tom Anderson. Maduro, they held an elections, a fake election, so to speak, but Maduro was actually serious. What is your take on that stunt by Maduro and Essequibo?
Well, of course he's serious, because he's looking around the world and he's noticing that people are getting away with raiding their neighbors, with going by force and taking land. He's seeing that, oh, it works. And then he's hearing President Trump every day, almost every other day, saying that he's going to make Canada the 51st state. Oh, it's time for us to take over Greenland. Oh, we're going to take over the Panama Canal. And so all of this talk going on. And if you're Maduro and you're a dictator and you look next door and you see, oh, wait a minute, those guys don't look too serious to me. I can just take their land. And what are they going to do about it? And so he's serious. He's looking next door and he's saying, hey, I can take this. And who's going to stop me? And so all he's doing now, he's like, he's like a hyena right now. He's just watching around. He's peeking in and out of the bush. He's getting in close, and then he's backing off, and he's doing everything he can to push every button he can so that if there's an opportunity, he's going to strike. And it's going to happen so fast, the whole world will be surprised. So yeah, I'm not surprised he's serious. Of course he's serious. And he's serious because the opportunity is there for him.
Yep, and it didn't go anywhere because nobody voted. Absolutely no one voted in Essequibo, as far as I'm aware. No one voted, but this guy Maduro is actually serious. What is your take, though? Because the Americans say, look, they are not going to sit by and allow Maduro because they haven't recognized Maduro as the president, as a legitimate government, and rightly so. But what is your take on the position of the U.S.?
Well, I mean, yeah, we have our position, but I've been saying, I've come on this show a lot, and I've been saying, the problem with the United States, and when it comes to Guyana, is that we aren't like up to speed on what's happening in the region. We just aren't, man. Like, so we have people who know what's going on, but we have a disconnect between the people who know what's going on and the leadership of our country in Washington, D.C. There's a huge disconnect there. Okay. And so the information of what's happening on the ground here and what's happening in Venezuela and everything else in the region, that is not making it to the White House, to upper echelons in D.C. Those guys, this is not making it. And so because of that, there's a serious issue here. And here's what the issue is. Yes, we're serious about protecting our interests in the region. Yes. But there are other players who want to pay big money to make us say, no, we're not that serious. And so, you have a situation where the reason why this guy Maduro is doing what he's doing is because he's hoping that a foreign power will offer him a ton of money to go in and take Essequibo. Like that's what he's doing. He's like a salesman right now, and he's taking that part of Guyana And he's advertising to the world, to any big powers, look, if you pay me a bunch of cash, I'll come take this land and I'll split it with you. That's what he's offering on the world stage.
Do you think though, Tom, that what Jack Dave said and the fact that Jack Dave, they've been bending over backward for not only Maduro, but they started doing that under Chavez. And this is what Jack Dave actually said.
You could probably, on the maritime area, give Venezuela a channel out to the sea. So you make a slight concession in the maritime area.
So Jack Dave was offering Venezuela a slight concession, but Venezuela is now saying they don't want a slight concession. They want all of Essequibo. How much of an impact that what Jack Dave said has had on Maduro's decision on Essequibo?
A huge impact, because here's Jack Dale, years ago. This is years ago, but still, he's saying he's giving up part of Guyana's sovereignty to Venezuela. It doesn't matter the reason why. He's saying let's just give it up, and here's the reason why that's important: because Guyana has the sovereignty it has from an international agreement. And so what Jack Dale was just flippantly saying off on the side years ago was let's just forget about these intricate international agreements that take decades and decades, have been in place for over 100 years. Let's forget about that. And we'll just carve it up the way we feel like carving it up. And we'll just give them a little bit over here and a little bit over there. But the problem is once you change the agreement, it's gone. It's no longer that agreement anymore. Even if you change it a little bit, it's not the same agreement. And now Venezuela could say, well, we don't want the entire agreement anymore because you just said it. The agreement that was agreed to 100 years ago, that's not valid anymore because you gave us a carve out. So now that that's not valid anymore, we're going to take whatever we want. That's what would have happened. And that's what Jack Dale was allowing to happen as a leader of Guyana, to even say that. So yeah, this guy, I've noticed over the years, Jack Dale, he says a lot of things and he thinks that he's the most responsible guy. But the problem is words like that one right there, it gives guys like Maduro, dictator guys, what Maduro is doing is he's taking that from what Jack Dale is saying, his own words, and he's showing that to potential suitors abroad, to the Chinese and others. Look what this guy said. Even he wants to give us some of the land. Please. Even he doesn't even want the agreement. Their own country doesn't want the agreement. This is how he's advertising it. So that's the problem here. And I don't know, now all of a sudden everyone wants to get serious because it looks like Maduro is serious. But this has been a serious problem for a long time. And the problem has resided in Georgetown. That's where it's been, because these guys haven't been serious about it until all of a sudden now they think they're serious. But it's too late to be serious now. Should have been serious, right? And so that's why the problems are occurring. That's why this guy is serious. That's why he keeps pushing, because he hasn't seen a government in Guyana serious enough for him to feel like, he shouldn't do that. That's the problem. And it's that simple. And there's nothing that I've seen out of Jack Dale or anyone else that they've said with their words that is going to change that dynamic. Nothing they've said. They keep saying it's one Guyana. We stand together. That doesn't intimidate Maduro at all. Okay, at all. Right. So they need to come better than that. They need to come stronger. And I don't know how they're going to do it. I'm not going to recommend how they do it, but I know they have to do it. And if they don't, this guy Maduro is going to continue to creep and creep and creep until he's going to pop and try to snatch something. And then it's going to be an international incident. And then you're going to see war. And then you're going to see people dying, innocent people dying. And it shouldn't have to go that far, right? It shouldn't have to. But with the way that, yeah.
Thank you, Tom. Let's go to the U.S. State Department. Marco Rubio issued a statement on behalf of the 59th independence anniversary of Guyana. He says, on behalf, and Marco Rubio that is, on behalf of the government of the United States, I extend warm congratulations to the people of the Cooperative Republic of Guyana on the 59th Independence Day. On your 59th Independence Day, it says here, the United States reaffirms its steadfast commitment to our partnership with Guyana, grounded in shared democratic values and mutual dedication to regional security and prosperity. And this is the part here. As Guyana continues to experience historic economic transformation under the leadership, as he claims, of Irfan Ali. We emphasize, listen to this part now, Tom, and others, wherever you are, we emphasize the importance of transparent governance and the rule of law that benefits all citizens. Your take on that part, particularly, Tom?
Yeah, I mean, that's what's been asked. The entire world has been asking the government of Guyana to be more transparent, to stop with the corruption, that it makes no sense, that you have enough revenue coming in, that you don't need to be corrupt, but they don't care, right? They continue to go down the road of sticking their heads in the sand and pretending. If you ask President Ali, or if you ask Vice President Jack Dale, if you ask them, is there a corruption problem in Guyana? They will tell you absolutely not. They will tell you there's absolutely zero corruption. They will tell you there's none at all is what they will say, right? And that's just how, and by the way, even though that's a lie, they believe it inside. They convince themselves of this. So they're deluded totally in their minds that they don't have a corruption problem. And so for them, they don't need to be more transparent. They're perfectly transparent already. Everything is perfect with everything they do. And they believe this. That's the part. You know, it's one thing to lie. It's another thing to believe the lies. They believe it. And they believe it wholeheartedly, 100%. So, yes, Marco Rubio, Secretary of State Marco Rubio is laying out what everybody's been asking them to do now for a long time. They're not going to listen. And they're not going to listen because they are convinced that they are one of the best governments in the world with no corruption and no issues whatsoever. That's from their perspective, man. And it's a sad thing because that is so far from the truth.
Sad thing indeed. Good night to all of you, wherever you are. Those of you who have already shared the link, thank you so much for doing so. As we spin back to Guyana, you know, elections have been announced. The date of elections was actually announced for September 1st, 2025. 90 days from now or somewhere thereabouts. 90 days from now, elections. Expect lots and lots of cash grants. Expect a lot of persecutions. Expect a lot of allegations, all manner of things. Expect some charges. Expect some individuals will be dumped in the lockups. Expect some individuals will be jailed. Expect some individuals will be charged with murder and all. Expect those things. And I think it has started right off the bat. Let me see, Tom, if you know Guyana so much and you've been watching in. Do you know this guy? Sorry?
That's Doggy. That's Doggy.
Oh, yeah.
That's not a good guy. He's a bad guy, Doggy. He's not a good guy.
Why do you say he's a bad guy?
This guy, look, when I was a kid in Miami, as kids, we would set up street fights as children, okay? This man, as a grown adult, is setting up street fights with grown adults and people almost getting killed. I mean, this is ridiculous. I was watching it and I was just shocked that a grown man was behaving like a child like that. It was amazing. And people cheering it on too.
What do you think about that sort of culture? They call it the scrapehead culture. What do you think? Because I saw it
to be the scrapehead culture. I don't think that's the scrapehead culture. I think the scrapehead culture is actually, you know, when you really get down to it, is the culture that is there to deal with the true corruption of the PPP if they try to do really bad things in places like Linden. I think the scrapehead culture is actually the muscle threat to not be too corrupt in certain communities. Okay, in my opinion. And then these guys are taking that, like Doggy, he's taking that and he's turning it into his version, which is some kind of schoolyard immature thing. And he's putting it everywhere, and people are enjoying it. But that's what children do, man. That's what kids do. I don't understand.
So when you saw that, that little antics there at the. By the way, he has been he has been arrested. Sorry, he's currently in the lockups. I haven't seen anything that he has been released. I don't know what they're going to charge him with, but I wouldn't put it past the corrupt PPP regime to charge him with inciting acts of terrorism or something of that sort. But they were at the square of the revolution, totally uncalled for indeed. People could have gotten killed. There were shots fired. I think there's two other individuals or three other persons are locked up. But this is not where Guyana ought to be. And Tom, when you looked at that video, again, you looking into Guyana for over 15, going on probably 18 years or whatever, is this healthy? Is this new culture healthy for Guyana?
I mean, of course not. You know, it's to me, it's going backward, right? In a huge way, because one of the beautiful things about the nation of Guyana, if anyone listening and watching this right now, if you don't know, if you're not familiar, one of the great things about the culture is that it's a culture that is very traditional, right? But at the same time, it's not stiff-necked. It's not a stiff culture. It's a very loose, very fun, loving culture, but it's a very traditional culture. So this type of behavior by Doggy is a huge step backwards, right? And it's something from me, from just watching what he was doing. He's encouraging more of this. Clearly, he wants to create an atmosphere in Guyana where this type of behavior is known as the scrapehead behavior. That's what he's trying to do. And I'm sorry, but for such a small nation, this guy doing that brings international attention in a way that I don't even think he realizes, right? It brings it in a way that you guys just don't need, because it doesn't reflect your nation accurately. And so, yeah, man, I just saw it. I just thought, you know, it just shocked me, because I remember as a kid, we did this and it was stupid. But man, to be an adult and doing that, man, it was a sad affair watching that yesterday.
All right, Doggy is in the lockup still. Fata is in the lockup. Another young lady, social media personality. She's currently in the lockups. I don't know, honestly. I don't know why they arrested Fata. I just don't know. And so
it's like she was trying to make peace. Yeah. I don't think she did anything wrong. Yeah.
You know, she is a character indeed, but I haven't seen anything that she actually did wrong. She's always this excitement. She wasn't inciting anybody. And so it's absolutely wrong to arrest her. And so we take this time out to say free those individuals, including the two persons who, it was a heated something, a personal vibe between two women. I think it should have been trashed out differently. Now that it has reached to this stage, I hope that they can come to some agreement and not allow charges to be instituted against them, to say, hey, let bygones be bygones. Tom, as you know, Venezuela, I don't know, sorry about that. That's your friend Jack Dale running for governor. Somebody says that, but, that's another story. One Guyana, take a look at this Guyana map, the map of Guyana, cut in half. And this quote-unquote business guy, Jack Dale, Randy Jack Dale, who was a few years ago, he was charged with murder. He won that charge. He beat that rap. He beat that murder charge. And so now, according to what the police, what they're saying, that this guy was saying that Essequibo belongs to those rascal Maduro and Venezuela. And this is what he had on his business. And he was typing on social media, all manner of things. So he was picked up and he was charged. And the charge, inciting persons to commit treason. Inciting persons to commit treason. And he was placed on $350,000 bail. Meanwhile, almost 100 persons, most of whom didn't do anything, have been charged with terrorism, and they're currently languishing in prison. Your take on this whole scenario and the hypocrisy by this regime and the police force?
Yeah, I've been noticing that they've been doing this a lot. These trumped up charges. Like, if you look at what they're charging people with, you would think that the nation of Guyana is burning down by terrorist attacks, because it's like every other day there's somebody inciting a terrorist attack. But when you look at what the people actually did, they were just out and about. I mean, half of the time they were either saying something that these guys don't like, but they weren't out there inciting terrorism. Nah, man, that's not what was going on. And so when I've been noticing that, I've been saying, that's a mistake. And here's why it's a mistake: because there are real terrorists in Guyana right now, for real. And those guys can and will, if given the chance, commit a terrorist act. Maybe not in Guyana, but in another country. And so when you have a situation where your government is spending time chasing, people who aren't even really criminals, they're just people who are politically, malcontents, and they're saying things you don't like politically. You're chasing after them and hitting them with terrorism charges, when the real terrorists are running loose, making their plans, getting rich off of smuggled gold, right? They go and commit an act. Then how are these guys going to look as a government? They're going to look ridiculous, because here they were spending all this time, effort, and resources going after people because they say things they don't like, and charging them with terrorism type charges, when the real terrorists are running around free. And no one's saying anything to those guys. The real terrorists, no one's going after those guys. And there are a bunch of them right now in Guyana. So yeah, this is not a good look. I've been watching it with some concern, because I know there are real dangerous people there, and this government doesn't go after the dangerous ones. And so to be so heavy-handed on people who really haven't done anything, it shows a sign to me of desperation by the government. And I've been telling you this before, Mark. They look very desperate, the PPP. They're behaving with a desperation that is not good when you're leading a country that's dealing with a Maduro next door. When you're leading a country, when you've got Ukraine going on and the crazy stuff going on in Gaza, and you have the Russian stuff. There's so much going on right now. This is not what they need, this type of desperation. It doesn't make things better. It makes things worse. So yeah, this is not a good sign, and it's disturbing. And it's not a good trend. As people should keep watching this and should demand that they stop this, because sooner or later, something really bad is going to happen here by the real criminals they're not going after. And when it does, it's going to create a kind of chaos that no one needs.
The real criminals that they're not going after, obviously setting that stage for real chaos in the country. The money launderers, the gold smugglers, those who have facilitated terrorism around the world, Tom. And you know who some of those individuals are. We see some of them pretending to be angels these days. But Tom, I want to touch on this particular issue, that the opposition walked out of Parliament. This lady here sits there, one seat she's squatting on. She's refused to give up that seat to hand it over to the other party that should be sitting there. The PPP forced her to remain there. She's there illegally, but yet she is chastising the opposition for walking out of Parliament instead of embracing this corrupt PPP regime as it relates to the Essequibo and Venezuela situation. What is your take on the opposition walking out of Parliament? You as a quote-unquote outsider, what is your take, sir?
No, I think it's from an outsider's perspective, I think it's been a long time coming that the opposition started to do something, right? Because even if you don't, let's just say you take the PPP side of things and say that, oh, they are running the government perfectly. Let's just say you take their side, right? Politically speaking, the opposition is getting steamrolled, okay, politically. Let's not even talk about how the country is being run. Let's just talk politics. When it comes to politics, the opposition has a problem. They're not showing any fight. They haven't been showing fight. So them doing this is a huge improvement. They're finally showing some fight and some backbone. And so, yeah, I can see how some people would be upset at this, right? Because they don't want the opposition having there are people who do not want the opposition having a backbone. There are people who do not want the opposition doing things like this, because if the opposition has a backbone and the opposition is active and they're prickly and they're pushing hard all of the time, right? What it does is it opens the door, the opportunity for other people politically to get involved and for actual change to happen, right? So yes, many people are not going to want the opposition to be walking out of Parliament, because that's a power move, and they don't want to see the opposition making power moves politically right now.
Now that elections, there's a date for elections, September 1st. Those of you, if you're prepared, if you're in Guyana, you have your ID cards, prepared to vote and prepared to put your X on the right spot. That will able to have Guyana breathe again. Do not be confused with where you put your X. Do not be swar, guys. Do not. Not everything that glitters is gold. Now, are you of the view, Tom, that the opposition is ready for elections?
No, but I don't think anyone's ready for elections in Guyana, man. I don't think the PPP is ready. I think this is going to come down to the last second.
1 second, Tom. The PPP seem to think that they're ready. That's why they call the elections. They think they have GCOM under control. They think they have the purse string, so they could go out and buy votes and swar people also. But go ahead with your point, please, sir.
Yeah, they're very delusional, man. But they're not ready. They're not ready. And the reason why, they're not ready, and the reason how the proof of it is all these arrests for inciting terrorism and stuff, man. That's because they're not ready for election, man. They're trying to make it seem like they are. They're not ready. And so this is just sort of, from an outsider's perspective, Mark, I see this as almost a cultural thing in Guyana. I really do think, I just look culturally, it's just like in Guyana, man, the people don't move until they really have to move. And so I think the politics are the same way, man. I don't think these guys are really that ready. I think it's a cultural thing, and they're not trying to move until they really have to move. And so it'll just be the next, 90 days is going to be total freaking mayhem and chaos, because these guys are going to be trying to get ready and try to win all at the same time. Is going to be madness. So, so yeah, man, I don't think anybody's ready. I think this is going to be crazy madness, right? And I just think the people of Guyana need to just buckle down, and be smart and be organized and just be, very, how can I put it? Be very purposeful over the next 90 days in what you read and what you take in and what you conversate about. Be very purposeful about how you consider your vote and how do you want to make your vote, right? And I think that goes for everybody, whether you're somebody who supports the PPP or the opposition, doesn't matter. I think everybody should start getting serious for the next 90 days and getting real protective of their minds as to what they're letting in, and just stick to what you know is important for you as a voter, and get informed. And if you feel like it, hey, get word out there and try to get other people that are just like you to vote too. And hopefully, cross your fingers, there's a good election happens, and it's an election that the people can believe in. And, the way I see it is if it's a good election and the people believe in it, I'm for whoever wins that election.
Well said, Tom Anderson, 45. People want good people to win the elections. People don't want corrupt people. People don't want people with questionable characters and all these sort of things. That's not a good thing for Guyana, guys. It's just not a good thing at all. But let us say the opposition folks, the AFC and the PNC, but PNC is the main opposition party. What advice you have for those two serious, mainly the PNC and the AFC, but what advice do you have for those two serious political parties in the opposition right now as they prepare for elections?
Well, I think they have a messaging issue, in my opinion, that I've noticed. And I think they need to correct that, and here's the issue. And I think both parties suffer from the same thing. I don't care if the PPP hear this or not. They're going to stick to what they've always done. And here's what the issue is, the messaging issue. Both parties, the PNC and the PPP, they like to try to get votes by promising different things. Like I saw one today where the PNC promised free education. to certain college students to the University of Guyana. And that's great. If they're elected, they're going to get free education, going to get free college education, and that's good, you know. But I think I think they have to raise their messaging up above just like, you know, hey, vote for us in exchange for some goodies, right? I think they need to make their message one where they're saying, look, Guyana is not at the point where the nation has to compete on an international stage with other nations, like in a serious way right now. And because of that, you know, the PNC should be coming in and saying, hey, if you vote for them, what they want to bring to Guyana is new leadership in places all over the country to be more internationally competitive, so that the University of Guyana may recruit some leadership in from abroad who can come in and transform the university into a place of learning that not only offers free education to Guyanese citizens, but the education that it offers produces students who become professionals that can run the nation of Guyana independently. So that way you guys have experts in every field. So you don't have to, when you have an issue, you don't have to reach outside, right? You don't have to go to the United States. You don't have to go to Canada or another island nation to get help for an autopsy. You don't have to reach out to get help on, you know, finding out, hey, is this a good deal that we're signing with this oil company on this oil deal that we're looking at, right? You don't have to trust some foreigners to tell you whether that's a good deal or not. You'll actually have your own domestically trained and educated world-class professionals in areas that the nation needs in order to function properly. Like, that's where the promises need to be. That's where the rhetoric needs to be from the PNC. They need to be speaking from the perspective of, look, we need to create a modern nation here. In order to do that, we have to be internationally competitive. So if you elect us, we're going to make this nation an internationally competitive nation on all of these different levels. And the levels they need to lay out are the ones that they are good at. Education, which is one of them, right? Public service, all types of other things they can do and they can lay out. But I think that's what needs to happen. They have to raise the rhetoric up a level, and they have to make it so that the people of Guyana can see, right, that they actually have a plan for expanding the wealth of the nation and for expanding the education, for expanding the nation into a position where it should be on an international stage. And that, I think that's a much better place to be in when you're talking from that perspective with that message than the message of, hey, vote for us and we'll get you some free college classes. I think that's the difference. And I think they need to start looking more at that bigger message and then funneling all the other stuff underneath it. I think that's what I would say if I have any advice to them.
Thank you so much, Tom. At 50 minutes after 9 o'clock. And the messaging is how they package the messaging. You don't want a situation where Guyana is taken backward. And that is why it's important who you vote for. You don't vote for people who swar, vote for people who don't have a conviction, vote for people who basically dilly-dally on issues, vote for people who have a track record of corruption and all manner of different things. Don't waste your vote, guys. Don't waste your energy. Don't waste your votes. Just don't do that. This elections is very important. They're very important. And therefore, you have to sit back. You have to make a proper decision. And you have to put your X on the right spot. You have to do it. If you don't do it and you fall for swars from these individuals who selling snake oil salesmen and so forth and so on, and you allow your emotions to get in the way, of course, the PPP has to be removed. And they will, in my opinion, be removed. But be careful. Be careful how you vote. Now, getting back to the PNC, I think the PNC, what they're saying with free and fair elections is that the PPP did a butch job on that, is that they have deprived young Guyanese, they have deprived Guyanese for 20-something years, almost 25 years of not having a free education at the university level. for a couple of decades under the People's National Congress, they were, according to the Constitution, education is free from nursery to university. In 1992, when the PBP took office, not so long after, they got rid of the free education at the university level and forced individuals to pay for their university degree. And that caused a lot of young people who couldn't afford, or their parents couldn't afford to send them to university, had nothing else to do. And so for 20-something years, the PBP created this environment. They created this batch of young people that we're seeing today. Not all of them, but a lot of them believe that they have no future in Guyana because the government, the PBP regime, created that atmosphere. They got rid of all of the vocational schools, all of the technical schools, and all of these things under the PBP regime. Fortunately, we saw some good things happen under the coalition government, that all of these young people were being treated again as human beings. And so the free education coming from the government, the opposition side, mainly the PNC, is as a result of what the PPP did to destroy Guyana. But I agree with you. They need to up their PR. They need to do far more. 90 days is a heck of a lot, and a lot can be done if they do the right thing and have the right people around. Now, quickly, Tom, before I hand the mic back to you.
Yeah.
You did say that once they attract good people at the university level, they can create, they can produce good, have a good outcome in terms of graduates and so forth and so on. Not so long ago, Guyanese were being hired all across the world, and still they're being hired as professors at Harvard, at Oxford, at top universities, top companies. People were looking. Guyana was once the education, the intellectual basket of the Caribbean, and other Caribbean countries as well, islands as well. And so what we are seeing now is a watered down Guyana, compliments of a corrupt system. And that is why we've got to ensure the opposition, they have got to ensure that they're strong enough, that they're unified to take control back of that country. It cannot go back into the PPP's hands, neither can it go into anybody that has similar traits of the PPP. Not in their hands. Tom, go ahead, sir. Go ahead.
Yeah, I agree with what you're saying, Mark. And look, here, to me, so here's the issue, right? And this is how, if I were advising the PNC on this one issue with education, for example, the way I would tell them is look, I know you guys have a political platform, and a platform is for every party, they have a document that states, all of their objectives, what they are officially for, their stance on all the major issues the nation is facing on that platform. So I would say on your platform, you have on there, yes, free education, free college education. That's on your platform. But what I would say is when you're communicating, though, you don't have to see your platform as one thing. What you're communicating when you're running for elections is something different. So here's the deal. When you're out there on the ground and you're trying to get people to vote, and you're knocking on doors and you're handing out flyers, that type of a thing, and people are saying, well, I don't know if I like the PNC. They're not really that good. People can say when they're out in the street, well, look, just so you know, aren't you in college? Yeah, I'm in college. Do you pay for it? Yeah. Well, if the PNC get in, then it's free now. Like, they can say that on the ground. But the leadership, when they're speaking, they need to be speaking from a different place. They need to be speaking from the place of, hey, to the nation, look, of course, yeah, we do the free education in college. That's fine. But what we're trying to do is we're trying to stop the watered down version of Guyana that Mark Benshop talks about on his radio program. What we're trying to do is take us back to the place where we are a leader in education in the world, not just in the region, in the world. Right? That's where we are. The PNC, that's what we are shooting for. That's how I would advise them. Why? Because Guyana can actually do that. It's in your hands. It's possible to do it. And how do I know it's possible? Because like you said, Mark, before, you guys have done it before. So it's culturally there for you to do it, right? And you have the resources to do it. All it takes now is the leadership to be focused on it and to bring in the right people to accomplish it. Okay? So to me, this is a winning argument for the PNC, but it has to be an argument where they're raising the level up above just here's a handout for a vote to no, we're actually trying to transform the country back to a place, in certain instances, back to a place that it used to be on education. But we're also looking forward and we're trying to be competitive in areas that we never even thought we'd be competitive on. For example, maybe Guyana wants to be competitive in the robotics area. Maybe Guyana wants to be more competitive in the AI arena. Okay, there are many things that Guyana can do going forward that with a quality university, with quality people running it and quality staff, Guyana can become something very special on the education front. But these are the type of discussions that the PNC should be having all the time. This type of talk. It shouldn't be the talk of, oh, the PPP are so bad. They're bad guys and they want you to pay and we're going to give you a free education. So vote for us. Okay, that's an okay argument, but I'm telling you, that's not going to win an election. What's going to win the election is saying, hey, we're going to put Guyana to where it should be on things like education, and this is how we're going to do it, and this is why we're going to do it, and this is, and when it's done, here's how it's going to affect the nation, and here's what it's going to bring to the table for us. It's not just that we'll have a good education system, but what it's going to bring for us is an independence that money can't buy. Because when you have your own people, highly trained and highly educated, running all of the essential functions of your nation, now you're in a spot where you can actually have independence, right? And that's what you're shooting for. And it starts with your education. So that's why this is a winning topic, but they have to be up on the high ground on it and not just talking about a vote for free college credits.
Well said, Tom Anderson. At 58 minutes after 9 o'clock, Sri Nandalal is saying Guyana or Guyanese need opportunities, not handouts. And it's perfectly in keeping with what we have been saying here and what you just said there, Tom, that Guyana can do better. Of course, it can do better with good people in government. And I really do mean good people, not hustlers and not scamps and not rogues and all the good people who have Guyana at heart, patriotic people. That is what's needed. People with a vision, if you know what I mean. Don't fall for Swar. Don't fall for Swar, as we say in Guyana. Do not fall for Swar. Tom, as we prepare to go, anything else you wish to say in your closing remarks? We have noticed that the guy who has been sanctioned, Azruddin Mohammed and his father, they have been sanctioned along with a government official. And we're told that there are indictments, serious indictments against them, gold smuggling, money laundering, terrorism, assassination. Those are very serious allegations leveled against an individual who now wants to run for president of the Cooperative Republic of Guyana. Your take on that, sir, before we go.
So, it's complicated, but it's possible, right, that him running for president opens the door to someone like Aubrey Norton actually winning, because he could peel votes away from the PPP. Okay. And if he did
even though at this point in time there's no evidence that he can peel vote away from the PPP, but more from the opposition. Well, go ahead, sir.
Yeah. So there's no evidence, but if you're a good strategist from the PNC, you can force him to peel away votes from the PPP. You can box him in politically. And I've seen enough from him to know that he's not sophisticated enough politically to avoid being boxed in. So yeah, I would make sure, and I'd make sure that the only place he's running his campaign are in PPP territory. That anytime he comes into the PNC or APNU territory, that there's no go there, right? And I would box him in. So yeah, this could. All I'm saying is, if played right, the PNC could take advantage of this. Okay, they can. I don't know if they have the wherewithal to do it, the strategic, minds to take advantage of it, but it's there to have. And the reason why I say that is because looking at Azruddin Mohammed over the last year or so, I don't believe that he's a serious candidate in any way. Okay, I don't. But I do believe he can do some damage to somebody in 5 or 6% here or there. It's just, who does he do the damage to? Does he do it to the APNU or does he do it to the PPP? That's going to be the question, and how each party handles him is how it's going to turn out. So I think there's more than enough ammunition out there to show that he's right in line with the other PPP corruption people. Azradine is. That's how he got the wealth that he got. There's a lot of corruption, going over the years with the PPP, and even his father, Shel Mohammed, has said it publicly that, going back many, many years, he's worked with the PPP and been very close to them. So there's enough information there politically for the APNU and for the PNC to take advantage of this. And it may work to it really could work to their advantage if they play it right, but it's going to be hard. And they're going to have to, get some smart people there that can strategize this out to their advantage. But I think they can do it.
All right. That said, we're out of here. It's the 59th anniversary, independence anniversary, and we wish you all the best again, all of you in Guyana, outside of Guyana. Guyana must be able to breathe again, and you need good people in government to run the country, people with vision, real vision, people who are patriotic, people who are have a vision, people who are sincere about healing the country. Do not fall for Swar. Tom, thank you so much for your time, though. God bless you.
Have a good night, guys.
And to all of our listeners, indeed, have a wonderful rest of the evening. Do not fall for Swar. Guyana deserves better. We'll be talking a lot about that in the next 90 days. We'll be talking a lot of that. Lots and lots about that. Read between the lines, guys. Do not fall for Swar. Do not fall for Swar. I'm out of here. God bless you.
Yeah, my name is Jacinti Caldata Francis Vietnam, and since 1965 I become a voter, and I always place my ex next to the cup, and what they are doing today, I can't take it. So I have no more vote to give to PPP anymore. I'm not going to vote anymore no more. If they have to lose by one vote, they're losing it by data. I have none.
Persons can do so peacefully, and they can, but blocking the road for hours is something that
Mr. Ali, I saw you blocking road. Yes, Mr. Ali.
I'm just telling you.
Mr. Ali, there are videos with you protesting, you being a scrape and a tug. Mr. Ali, this is not, listen, sometimes we gotta put our position aside.
No, this is not position.
No, we gotta put our position aside and place ourselves into people's shoes. You gotta understand, even those persons who were traveling, yes, they were inconvenienced, but they understood the reason. They understood the reason. We understand the inconvenience.